Going to the hospital? We've got a packing list.
Hi, I'm Milan.
Hey, I'm Matthew. We were both given the opportunity to ask for a once-in-a-lifetime experience from a certain organization that rhymes with shake a fish. So for our wish, we asked to start our very own podcast. I'm just kidding. I went to Boston, New York to watch baseball.
I went to Paris and you're at Disney, but now we have a podcast too.
Welcome to the Wish Kids. You know those videos that are like, what's in my bag? Where they bring a bag to school or they unpack their baseball or like camera gear? Well, that's what this is, except for the hospital. And also we don't have any bags with us and we're not unpacking anything. So really not like those videos at all, but hey, here we are.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And they're probably really entertaining videos, but I'm pretty sure most of the stuff that I bring to the hospital wouldn't fit in a bag anyways.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah.
Yeah, like the main item, like right when you said that, the first thing that came to my mind was a pillow. I always bring a pillow and then sometimes an extra blanket.
That's really smart, actually. Like having an extra, like a really nice, comfy pillow, like a little throw pillow, and like a throw blanket too. Just like if you want to sit on the chair instead of on the bed, or if you need extra heat on the bed.
Right. And it's just something from home that's like comforting, and because you're like going to go do something that probably isn't the most exciting thing on your agenda, and just having that like sense of home with you.
That's smart. Yeah. I mean, somewhat related to home, I guess I would always bring snacks with me.
Yes,
Like,
that is a must.
yeah, because I mean, when I'm at home, I just snack all the time. And like, snacks are one of those things you don't realize you don't have them until it's like 4 p.m. on a Tuesday and the hospital isn't serving dinner yet. And it's too late to order lunch and you're just like stuck in your room hungry. I'm sure everyone had that experience. Like, it's not specific, but it's like, um, no, like snacks are something like you don't realize you want or need until you don't have them readily available, and then it's like, oh, I miss having snacks.
Right. And then you just start thinking about all of the snacks that you could
Mhm.
have. So you just start creating like a cravings list. And then
Yeah.
like by the time you probably get them, you're like, oh wait, why? Like, why would I want this?
Uh-huh. For me, just like I have like a little like snack like cupboard at home,
Hmm.
and so I would always like
You mean
picture
you
that
mean
exact cupboard.
you
Like,
mean a pantry?
yeah, yep, that's the word part.
You're like saying it like it's like new. Yes, I do know what you're talking about.
Like no, but I would picture my pantry, and just like know exactly where the snacks I wanted were located, and be like that in the back right corner, that bag of chips, or like in the front left, those peanuts. Like that would be so good right now.
Hmm.
Um, I know for me, like chips were huge because like chips are just the ultimate like mindless like munching snack. You just sit
Yeah.
there and eat, like just watching TV or like listening to music. You just keep eating them. And so I think every hospital visit, we would just bring a whole bag of tortilla chips. Just because my family would get hungry too. But then also we would bring tons of like mini bags of Cheetos because I was huge on Cheetos, and they're still a top three chip for me, like for sure. But that was like almost the only chip I ate while in the hospital because it's so good.
They are. But I have to ask, with the tortilla chips, did you bring like dips?
No, because we didn't have a refrigerator in the room.
Got it.
Um, and also it's just like I've never been like I like guac when I make it, but like store-bought guac has too much onions for me usually.
Oh, usually there's like a weird like after flavor with like
Yeah.
store-bought guac for me.
Mm-hmm.
Or like the like ones you can buy in bulk. Like I'm like, okay, I'll just make, because they have to add preservatives because otherwise
Yeah.
it's gonna turn all brown and I'm like,
Yeah. Brown guac. Yuck. Yeah.
yeah. But okay, so just a huge bag of tortilla chips.
Just plain tortilla chips. Just eat them straight out of the bag. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
best.
After you mentioned chips, it just reminded me of like a little story. We used to go to a hospital that was further away. Like I went to two different ones,
Mhm.
and there was a hospital that was like 7, 8 hours away. So we'd road trip there. And at this time, I'm still a very picky eater, but I was more picky probably at this age. And my brother used to like, we would stop at a gas station. He would go in and he would get like bunches of chips that he liked, and they were all different flavors. And I was so jealous because I was like, I wish I had like a chip that like I liked. So my chip of choice now is kind of barbecue chips that like if I'm going on
Oh,
a mini
Interesting.
road trip, I'm getting barbecue chips,
Uh-huh.
but I don't
I
like
didn't
spicy
I didn't
random.
think of you as a barbecue chip person. Sorry to interrupt. I just you didn't seem like a barbecue chip. You seem like a salt and vinegar person. That's
No, I I don't really dig the flavor of vinegar, as much, but actually, speaking of, like, chips and different flavors, Goldfish. I was like, you mentioned Cheetos, and, like, Cheetos are great. Okay, but do you like the regular Cheetos or puff Cheetos?
the regular one. Like, puffs are good once in a while, but, like, I can't get through a whole bag. They only sell those in big bags also.
Right.
I can eat, like, 3 or 4. I'm like, "Oh, those are fun," but, like, they're too like, just a it's the regular small Cheetos, like,
I
yeah,
feel
I can
like
just eat those, like, for days, yeah.
yeah, I feel like the puff ones get, like, stuck in the back of your teeth because it's like foam.
It's like
Um,
the packing peanuts, yeah, it's
yes. But, like, Cheetos reminded me of Goldfish, and I was obsessed with Goldfish. I would eat a sandwich-sized bag of goldfish. Like, you know the Ziploc bag you put your,
yeah,
like, sandwich in? Yeah,
uh-huh.
that filled with goldfish. Oh, maybe it was a prednisone craving, but they just seemed like a creation of heaven at that time, and I would just
Mhm.
consume like a vacuum. Obsessed.
Yeah, I think someone brought me goldfish while I was in the hospital, I remember, like, because they sell those in those, like, milk cartons, you know?
Yes.
Which is weird, I've never understood that, like, why would they sell it in that
Easy
shape?
pour, easy
Yeah,
pour,
but
pour 'em in a
it
bowl.
has the pour handle too, like, that doesn't make sense, like, who's pouring but I've never gotten into goldfish, I don't know what it is. Cheez-Its too, like, I can eat Cheez-Its a little bit, but it's just like, I don't know, but Cheetos, yeah, Cheetos are it for me.
I can eat Cheez-Its, but in, like, small portions, like, they actually have these burnt like, they're, like, extra toasted Cheez-Its, and they're really good. Those
Mm,
are probably more preferred, but they're different cheddars. So
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, but one that I got into that's not like, Goldfish anymore, but it's, like, kind of the same concept is the Annie's Cheddar Bunnies.
Oh, yeah, those are fun.
Those
Uh-huh.
they're I used to, like, hate the flavor because I was like, "I'm a Goldfish person," and now I'm like, "Okay, I could do both."
Yeah. No, I they have the, Annie's makes those gummy bunnies also,
Yes.
which actually I used to bring gummy bears or not gummy bears, but, like, gummy fruit snacks, like, all the time to the hospital too. I think it was probably Welch's, like, the little individual packs, and they were just like I would eat those all the time too. I would have them for lunch, at school before and after treatment and stuff, but, like, in the hospital, a bunch of fruit snacks too.
Yeah, I love fruit snacks. Actually, for some reason, I kind of associate fruit snacks with, like, being really warm and cozy, and, like, I don't know, just, like, when I think of that, because it just reminds me of being, like, younger and, like, in, like, elementary school or something, and that kind of brings me to my next, item that we should definitely mention bringing to the hospital. That's comfy clothes.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Just, like, I just love being comfortable because, like, okay, one time when I was younger, it was, like, right when I was starting to, like, go in for treatment or when I, like, kinda just got diagnosed, I saw this older girl, like, she was probably, like, my age now, but I remember thinking, like, she was, like, way older than me, and she was wearing, like, an entire outfit, like, jeans, like, cute tank top jacket, like,
Oh,
went all out,
like a dressed
and
up outfit, like,
yeah.
actually, like
Like, she was
wow.
dressed up, like, she had, like, plans with her friends after, and I was like, "You go, girl." But and, like, I admire her for that, and I guess it's kind of like it's kinda similar to people dressing up for exams, like, there was this, girl in my class, and she was telling me that she dresses up for all her tests, so she feels good about herself when she's taking the exam, so it's like you dress up for, like, a job interview, and she's like, "That's how, like, I take my exams." So I guess it's kinda similar here, but I don't
Yeah.
know, I just prefer comfort. I'm like, if I'm gonna take a final, and it's 2 hours long, I'm gonna wear comfy clothes. If I'm going in for a treatment, I'm wearing comfy clothes.
Yeah. No, I'm the opposite of that, like, of that girl. I'm the same as you because I remember for my finals, I had a lucky pair of pajama pants. They're like LA Dodgers pajama pants, and I would wear them to school on the day of my finals. Um, just 'cause, like, they're comfy and, like, I felt like they helped me in the test.
This is your good luck charm.
It was, no, and it's like yeah, no, I definitely comfy clothes in the hospital are so, so important, because also, I don't know about you, but, like, the bedspreads that I had would always just feel, like, scratchy and, like, the opposite of soft. Like So you need like soft clothes to counteract that and like balance it out.
Yeah, they always just seemed really crunchy to me, like, when you're laying, I'm like, I don't know, just, like, not I don't wanna be crunchy.
Crunchy is like an amazing way to describe it. Actually, the hospital bed linens are very like very crunchy, which is it's weird. Um, Also though, like in addition to like comfy, I would just bring it would usually be old clothes that I would bring because I
Mhm.
just want something like just something about wearing like old and like baggy clothes just feels so nice and like comforting. Like it's like a big hug from these like old like baggy too large clothes. Plus I didn't really want to get like any of my nicer clothes or newer clothes dirty from the hospital. I mean, because we talked about this in another episode where it's like there's just that like aura and like feeling of like
Mhm.
dirtiness at the hospital.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't want to get that feeling on my clothes and definitely not on my nicer clothes or like the clothes I liked more.
Mhm. I agree with that, because I mean, I would wear clothes that, like, I just didn't care deeply about, especially because there were a few times where, like, you might have gotten, because like, I feel like a lot of the hospitals you and I went to were more of, like, training hospitals too, so they had,
Mhm.
like, interns and people that were learning how to perform medicine, that they were still learning how to put an IV in. And, like, you could get, like, something on your clothes, so I would just
In
always
case
bring.
blood just squirts everywhere.
Yeah, that had happened to me. I didn't wanna put, like, a
Did it
warning on
really?
here, but warning, if blood, like, weirds you out, we're gonna have a mini blood story. You know, there was a time where I had a nurse, and I love watching them put it in, like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing of mine of, like, watching them stab my vein,
Mm.
um, and this one lady was new, and she had not done it right, so she pulled it out and then tried to do it again, and I was like, "Why didn't you do the other arm?" And it was, like, lots of blood everywhere, so
Oh.
ever since then, I just make sure to bring an extra change of clothes, especially, like, if you get, like, an ultrasound or something. I don't know if
Mhm.
you were doing that, but
No,
I
I've
was.
had one, yeah.
Yeah, I had to, like, go get my, like, spleens and all my organs checked, and I don't want, like, that gel on it. Like, they
Yeah.
do put you in a gown, but, I still just liked having, like, an extra change of clothes just in case.
No, definitely, like, certain, like, other procedures, like, they put, like, numbing cream on or, like, certain, like, topical stuff, it'll, like, have so I remember for, some I forget what other for lumbar punctures too, there's, like, a brown, like, some, like, substance they put onto your back, and they tell you it stains clothes, so wear old clothes when you come in,
Right.
um, and so on that day, I think I would usually borrow, like, an old shirt of my dad's. I was like, "Dad, do you have any extra shirts?" I would walk in with, like, this, like, size XL shirt that was, like, down to, like, halfway to my knees, and I'd be like, I'm here, like, I'm ready."
It's like those little kids wearing those big puffer jackets.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Something that just came to my mind when you mentioned, or, like, when we were talking about, like, little kids, I don't know, just coloring. I just
Mhm.
little kids and coloring, but I remember I used to bring coloring books because I just loved it, and I mean, it's kind of more of a waiting room activity to me because I don't really think it's super fun scribbling while you have an IV in your arm. Okay, little side story, actually, sorry. It used to the idea of having the IV, like, right in the bend of your arm used to freak me out a lot because I always worried that, like, I would be, like, sleeping or something, and I would just bend my arm and,
Oh.
like, that the needle would, like, crack. Anyways,
We
that's
should have
probably why
given a
coloring isn't super fun if you're getting treatment and it's in your dominant or hand you use to write with.
yeah.
Is it just, like, the cord of, like, your chemo or your, like, infusion just hitting you?
Yeah, we should have given a warning before that story too, that's
We just put a warning in the podcast.
sorry, yeah, sorry everyone, this is
Needles and blood are mentioned.
uh-huh. But no, yeah, no, those chords are, like they're so annoying. Just anytime like, even, like, doing, like, schoolwork or writing, you move your arms just whap, 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 you're just like and, so I remember I tried to find stuff that, like, wouldn't require actual movement of the arm. One thing that's absolutely great for not moving your arms is video games.
When you said that, I just imagined you bringing, like, your entire gaming setup to the hospital every week.
I almost did a few times. No, I used to bring like individual video games in, just like the discs. And I didn't bring my DS or like Nintendo Switch. Actually, Nintendo Switch wasn't even around back then. Um, but no, like the my hospital had like this teen lounge that had an Xbox 360 and a PS3 in there for kids to go and play. And so every Friday, because it was only open Fridays. But every Friday, yeah, it was weird. I don't know why.
Probably to keep the parents thinking like they're maintaining the idea of them doing school.
I guess, but it's like it's for the teens, for the kids. Like but like no, every Friday I would go into that lounge and just sit there for hours just playing games. And sometimes other kids would be there too. So we'd play a racing game or we'd play like FIFA or something. But other times I just be in there alone. And so I just play NCAA football for hours and hours on end. And I started like a my player mode and like I would just progress that character. And then the next week I'd come back and keep playing with him. Um, but there were also times when my ANC was too low to like go outside my room, and it was especially too low to interact with other people or like be in a common area. Uh, but my hospital had this like super cool thing. They had these mobile gaming stations
Wait. What is your ANC?
at acute neutrophil count
Okay, thank you. Because I was
or
like,
accurate
oh,
neutrophil count. Sorry. Yeah. Let me
I'm
look up.
not
Hold
sure if
on.
like everyone would know what that is.
It is, yeah, it's like the amount of blood cells you have. It's the amount of absolute neutrophil count. That's what it is. Yes. Okay. Um, and so that's just like how much white blood cells pretty much you have.
Gotcha.
So like you want a high ANC to help fend off infections and disease. And so when you have a low ANC, which a lot of people do because of treatment, because like the treatment just kills all the cells in your body, like bad cells and good cells. So you have a low ANC usually, which means you can't fight off new infections. So that's why you're not supposed to like well, I wasn't supposed to go outside my room sometimes and
Right.
like especially not talk to other people in case they had some other sickness or even like a cough, and then I would get that and be hard to fend off.
Right, and then it's like a harder time and like people with like compromised immune systems. That's why we are kind of quarantined more. So we're kind of used to the kind of pandemic era,
Hmm.
but now it's kind of getting annoying.
Yeah.
But we're kind of
um,
used to it.
kind of used to it. Yeah, still annoying. I
So,
mean, it was annoying before the pandemic too,
yeah.
quarantining, but
So because of that, you were telling me about the video games.
yeah. So because of that, I couldn't leave. But my hospital, they had these like mobile gaming stations, which were like super cool. And I think more hospitals are doing it now. Um, but they would bring an Xbox 360 into my room and hook it up to the TV for me. And apparently, like I was the only kid on the floor who wanted to play video games because they would just leave it in my room for weeks at a time. Like they would never like I don't think there was a single instance where they came like, oh hey, like another kid wants to play this. Can we have it back? Like it was always just like, here you go, like it's yours. Like
That's so cool.
yeah, no, yeah, it was awesome because I got so far in my NCAA, like my player, like also huge news, completely unrelated, but EA Sports announced like a month ago now that NCAA football is coming back. The last one they made was 2014, and now they're making new ones again, which is amazing. Like huge news for sports fans. Not sure how many people listening to this care about that, but I think it's awesome. But no, I played that, and I played a ton of MLB 2K13 also, which was at that time like a year or two old, and it's the last 2K baseball game to come out. Um,
Really? I didn't know that.
yeah, because
Whoa.
there's a different brand that makes the games now called The Show, but 2K baseball ended in 13. Um, but I would play that at home and in the hospital. And then in the hospital, I played through the entire Call of Duty campaign while I was there. That year it was Advanced Warfare, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated ones. And that was like the first one I got really, really good at and actually started having a positive KD. That's a kill death ratio.
I was about to be like, what is KD?
Yeah. No, I'm sure a lot of this sounds like a lot of nonsense to most of the listeners out there. But maybe there's one or two that actually understand what I'm saying, which would be great. But yeah, no, I would play those games for hours and hours on end. And it was so much fun.
That's crazy. But I think it's really cool that they would just bring the Xbox into your room. And it's kind
Mhm.
of surprising that you'd be like the only one who wanted to play.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that too.
Because I feel like it's like not to generalize or anything, but I feel like that's kind of a more common like teen boy thing to want to do.
Yeah. I
But I
mean,
do kind of like understand like the low energy thing or just like not enjoying something as much as you once did before. Yeah.
no, I enjoy it just as much. I enjoyed it.
But I meant like, when you're sick and you have like low energy,
Oh, yeah, I
like
think when I had low energy, I would, because that helped me gain a bit of energy, if I feel like honestly, like playing the video game, like playing football, I was like,
you're getting hype.
yeah, it's like, what if that was me out there running? Whew, this is a workout. And
Got my cardio in for the
yeah,
day.
no.
I mean, I can't think. I actually, the thing that would probably give me a big boost of energy or something would be like music. And I think I have a few songs that I kind of associate with one, the drive to the hospital, and then like being in the hospital. Like those, just like the memories of the
Yeah,
songs.
there's like, because all music is like that, or not almost all music. Like a really good song, when you hear it, it like takes you back to a certain place and a certain
Right,
time.
especially, like, when it was played a lot in that era
Mhm.
era it's just the era. Um, like, okay, wait, I'm pretty sure it was 2015, and "Counting Stars" by One Republic was, like, the only song they played on the radio.
Uh,
I I literally cannot think of like today, I could go to the hospital and that song will come to my mind. Like I'll just think of it.
wow. Yeah.
And I just picture the road and then pulling into the parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there's the entire American Authors album, Oh What a Life. And that I used to have on repeat with a coloring book, and I had these little gel pens that I'd carry in this little bag. So I'd like color while that album was playing, and then once it finished, I would repeat it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, Counting the Stars, I had that same exact experience as you. Like, it was always on the radio on the drives to the hospital.
Yes, why?
I mean, it still is on the radio like all the time too, which like it's a good song,
Yeah.
still, but like the mid 2010s radio music will always have a special place in my heart because of those drives to and from the hospital. I'm like,
Oh, yeah. Just I don't know, just something about that song. It's like it's such a I don't know. I'm like, now that's a hospital song to me.
no, it very, very much is because it was always on the radio. Like,
Like, if it wasn't on the radio that day, it was a problem. I
something
don't
was
know.
going wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, something wasn't right in the world.
hmm
Um, but yeah, I would sometimes, at the time, I didn't have a phone, but like throughout the progression of like my hospital visits, I ended up getting a phone,
hmm
and I would just start. Okay, this sounds a little like I can't imagine doing this today, but back then, making a playlist was like the worst idea to me. I mean, I still don't like making playlists, but I used to just find artists that I liked and would just shuffle their Pandora radio.
Oh.
And
Hmm.
I don't know why, but the idea of that kind of is disturbing to me almost.
It seemed I remember, like, in the 2010s, like, making like, especially in middle school, I feel like that was people's passions to make playlists. Like, people would make playlists for other people, like, "Oh, does anyone want me to make a playlist for them?" Like, that was a hobby of people to do, like
Definitely not mine. I think playlists stress me out. I have
Mm,
2 on my phone right now, and they're for, like,
uh,
other people. Like, I'm just like, "Oh, like, these are good songs that I think you should listen to that I'll send you so I don't have to send you individual songs."
wow.
But, like, I did start, like, using my phone to download more music,
Mhm,
and then, along with music would be, like, movies or shows or something.
mhm.
And so, like, I think that would be kind of my next suggestion is bring some good music, but also bring a phone or an iPad or, like, a device that you can stream movies on
That's
because
smart, yeah.
Yeah, the hospital that I was at most of the time had, like, this little screen that you could, like, pull down, and it had, like, pre-selected movies, and one time, like, the only thing on for, like, kids above the age of 10, like, that it wasn't, like, Special Agent Oso, but it was, Iron Man, and I remember I just put it on, and for, like, 4 days straight, that's, like, what was just on because it was, like, the
Wow.
only thing that wasn't, like, going to regress my brain cells.
Uh-huh.
And, after that, I was like, "Okay, I'm just bringing my own device now."
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's smart, 'cause I had that same I'm pretty sure I had that same, like, pull down screen thing you're talking about.
Mhm.
Um, but we had definitely more options than just Iron Man, luckily, but I remember Iron Man was there, and that was a big one. They would always show I think that they would show Iron Man, and they would show Despicable Me in the lobby
Yes.
waiting area.
Or Big Hero 6. That
Oh,
was
they never had Big Hero 6 for us.
oh, okay, well, also, little side quest story. For one of my projects that I did for Girl Scouts, I created a movie library. So I'd gone to, like, all these places where I live and asked if they'd be willing to donate, movies to the hospital.
Oh, that's nice.
And, I created because I was like, I'm getting sick of watching the same thing over and over
Mhm.
again." And so, like, then I kind of just did a variety of things, which is ironic because now I literally watch the same things over and over again. It yeah, um, but I think my go-to, like, TV series when I was sick and during that era was The Flash, and
Oh, yeah. The Flash was
I
huge back then.
yes, I used to okay, and it's so funny because I used to be super, like, anti-superhero movie or TV shows for no other reason other than just the fact that I was like, "It doesn't interest me," and, like, "Why would I wanna watch that?"
Yeah, that's fair, yeah.
And, I kept seeing this billboard for The Flash. I kept seeing it, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna watch the first episode and see if I like it." And, like, "Fine, your ad worked. I'm gonna cave." And I watched it, and I fell in love with it, and, like, although I have not seen it since kind of season 4, I kinda
Mm,
tapered off, got busy, life, you know?
yeah, it
Um
got bad also, like, I stopped watching it for season 2, like,
Okay, let's not hate.
sorry, no, it's a great show for people watching it, it just I
I haven't seen it. I don't really remember that much of it because I think I just remember being, like, dazed while watching
Mhm.
it. But I loved it, and, the lead was also in Glee, so I also started watching that, and he can really hold his notes. He does a great cover of Smooth Criminal in Glee, and I used to play that every single day in 8th grade and drove my entire class crazy. It'd be 10:15 and break would start, and you know exactly what I put on my little Chromebook? Smooth Criminal Glee version with the cellos.
You would play,
Amazing.
like, out loud in your class?
Oh, yeah, but it was during break. I wasn't, that obnoxious.
That I mean, still, like, that's like
Everyone was, like, kinda at recess, and I would just be eating a bag of Goldfish, watching the music video. All those views on there, over a million, whatever, it's, like, probably at 30,000,000 or something.
yeah, half of them are you.
Half of me,
It's
8th grade, play it.
15,000,000 plays on it.
Yes.
That's actually, like you're the first person I've ever heard, like, say that an ad, like a billboard, actually worked. Like
I just kept seeing it, and I was like, "Hey, you're annoying me now, I'm gonna watch it, and then maybe it'll finally go away."
yeah, that's their whole, like, goal is to have people see it enough to convince them to watch it, and, like, I've never heard that actually work on someone except for you.
Here we are, advertising companies love me.
Yeah. But no, you saying watching Iron Man, like, 4 days in a row and also, playing that album just on repeat, like, I had that same exact thing. I've been wanting to talk about this actually since we started this podcast. Um, so I'm so glad we're doing this episode now and that I get to finally talk about it. So
You're
I'm
like, "I've
sure
been waiting. I've been trying to push this episode."
no, I've been waiting for the right moment to bring this up. It's like a really like it was a huge thing in my life and my treatment. Just like because I'm sure everyone or most people have had those obsessions with like a certain song or certain like video. where that's all you listen to, that's all you watch, and you just play it over and over. Like, it gets to the end, you hit repeat, it goes back to the start and just keep going. Um, and so for me, that thing while I was in the hospital, that thing for me was a Call of Duty throwing knife montage by a YouTuber named Hova. I think his name used to be Jehovah's Witness or I'm Jehovah, but now it's just Hova on YouTube. But the video is called I'm Jehovah throwing knife montage dash sharp.
Sharp.
Um, yeah, I don't. I think it's either the editor or it's describing the knives. Maybe, who knows? Um, but it
Or
was
both.
posted. It was posted all the way back in 2012, which is almost a decade ago now.
Yeah,
Which is
whoa.
crazy. Um, but it has a song in the background called Eyes for You. And that song just thumps. Like, it is such a good song. And the kill cams in the video are insane. And Hova is a genuinely like great person too. Like, I used to watch him, and he's in this like group, they call themselves the Crew, like
Okay.
him and KYR Speedy and Sidearms. Oh, I love Sidearms. But the Crew and like Hova, just all of them are like great guys. I just personally want to thank Jehovah, like, for all that he did for me, while I was in the hospital, even though he has no idea who I am. He has no idea he did anything for me. But just like this video, like, helped me through so many hard times. I remember so clearly, like, being in the hospital, laying in the bed with my IV and just holding the phone in front of my face and watching that video, like the throwing knife video, and just jamming out and just like smiling and not thinking about any of the drugs or treatment I was receiving. It was such an amazing escape for me. And after it would finish, I would just hit replay and watch all 1 minute and 53 seconds of it over again. And I would do that like 4 or 5 or 6 times, and I would just like, because it just got me so happy and got me so hyped, that song and that video. And like, yeah, I truly believe like that video and the song like helped me get through my treatment. Just because of how good and happy it made me feel even in the darkest times. So Hova, if you ever hear this or see this, thank you so much for that video and all you've done for me.
Aw, that was so cute.
It
Aw.
really it like made a huge difference for me, like finding something I could
Mhm.
go back to and like just always have and know that made me feel good.
Aw.
And I still listen to that song when it comes on. Like, I get chills when I hear that song play. I know every lyric by heart. Like, I was singing it in the shower last week without any, because I don't bring my phone or music into the bathroom with me when I take a shower.
Oh,
And so I'm
no.
just singing the song like note for note, word for word. There's a guitar solo too, and I was like strumming and like singing the guitar part too. And like, it's a great song. But yeah, no, it definitely helped me a ton.
Aw. Oh my goodness. I know that video actually sounds really interesting, so I know, like, when we're done recording, you're gonna be showing it to me.
I'm definitely gonna show it to you. Yeah, it's
There's actually one TV show that I can think of that, like, kind of gave me the similar feeling that you're talking about, and that would be Gilmore Girls. I would come home after, a treatment or something, and I would just sit and watch Gilmore Girls, and to this day, I still watch Gilmore Girls. I have finished it, like, 15 times all the way through, and that's not an
wow.
exaggeration. Like, how, like, it's not a hyperbole. I have actually sat down and watched it, and then they rebooted it with The Year in a Life, and I was so happy, so I rewatched the entire thing before I watched all 4. Yeah,
Wow. That's
I love it.
dedication. I can't even get through like one show once. Like, that's
I
wow.
don't know, it just makes me so happy, and, like, I even went and visited the Warner Brothers studio where they filmed it. It just brings me so much joy inside my heart to, like, have Gilmore Girls. But that was a TV show. The video, I think that gives me some serotonin every time I watch it, is this Cody Ko video, which I have sent to you. I think it was probably one of the first videos I sent to you when we'd,
Probably,
like,
yeah.
met, and he Cody Ko is probably someone who consistently creates great content that I don't get bored of. Um, yeah, so
I like that we're shouting out other YouTubers. Like,
yeah.
go watch these people. But please come back to us too. Like we would
They
still
probably
love your
already watched
views.
that. Our 2 subscribers.
Yeah.
Thank you, mom, for subscribing.
Yeah, yeah, please stay with us though. Like
Yeah, but along with, streaming content and YouTube videos, I would also suggest a book.
mhm,
Like, yes, entertainment is great, but sometimes that screen can just really do a number on your eyes. And so I would bring like 3 books, but then there would be like times I was just so drained of energy to hold a book or something. They I don't know, they just weren't used sometimes. They would just sit in the bag.
mhm.
Yeah,
But it's nice that it's there, like, you have the option to read.
right.
Like, you're like, "Oh, like, I made the effort to be an intellectual." Like, that counts for something.
I mean, I love reading, but there are just times where I was just like, I am not in the mood to like prop my arm up on a pillow so then I can hold it so the IV's still there and I can read. It was
Mm,
a process. And I
mhm.
just like, I remember I had like gotten sick while being sick was becoming like romanticized a lot. And it was just really interesting to have all of these like cancer and being in the hospital books come out. And
Mhm.
it was like a trend to write something similar to The Fault in Our Stars. And I remember thinking like, I don't want to read about being sick while I'm sick. Like I'm experiencing these things and it's not pretty and I'm living it, and it just almost felt like some of those books became like OMG goals for some people. And it was just like being sick and going through it isn't romantic. It's hard stuff. And
Mhm.
so like I don't know, I really kind of I do have The Fault in Our Stars and like a few books that do kind of like have that hospital theme in it.
Mhm.
But a book I really fell in love with was Morgan Matson. All of her books I just love. They're so pretty and a totally different genre than like, oh, you're sick and I'm in love with you, but you're dying. And I remember just being so intrigued with her work. And the coolest thing that she does is in some of her books, she references like other places that she brought up in another book before that.
Oh,
So it's like
that's
if you had
cool.
read that book, you know, like, oh wait, like I remember that. And
Mhm.
I just loved that feeling of being like, oh my God, like I know exactly what you're talking about. She's definitely my favorite author on my bookshelf, and I would bring those to feel really good.
Yeah, that's awesome, like, it's almost like a little Easter egg for you to, like, read about a different book that she's referenced. Like,
Yes.
I know that." Like
I don't know, it just made me so excited. And I guess the sick thing of like people making like books, it's like kind of like people making pandemic content during the pandemic. Like I don't think a lot of people want to watch things about the pandemic while being in the pandemic.
that's actually a really good point. Like, I haven't seen much or any pandemic content. Like, I haven't seen any TV shows or like
There was like a movie that was literally like they called it COVID something and people were like, this is really like tone deaf.
I was gonna say it's kinda like, we talked about in the "Is Cancer Still Cool" episode where it's like almost like that, where it's like people see you getting like a wish granted and they're like, "That's so cool, like, you're so like, you're missing a test, like, that's so cool, you're so lucky." Like, no, it's not really like that, like, that's not like
Like, no, I feel terrible. Thank you,
Mhm.
though.
Yeah. But no, like, being that author and, like, how she creates, like, those worlds that just, like I've felt that too in a few books I've read where it's like they make a world where you just get sucked into it and it just feels like it's real. You just get absorbed into this like alternate reality. And then you finish you finish it and you're like, whoa, like that didn't actually like this is like real life now. Like that wasn't
Yeah,
real, but it just feels like it's like it's such a cool feeling. And like when you finish reading or when you put the book down, or like some podcasts now too do that for me. Or it's like when you like turn it off, it's like the rest of the day your mind is just thinking about that and you want to
yeah,
go back to
yeah.
that.
It's such a great feeling that they bring. Yes,
Mhm.
it's
That
amazing.
that that feeling of, like, not not reading it or like not being in the podcast, but like wanting to go back to it is actually one of the best feelings. Like
Yes.
that desire to like go back to this like other world that's been created for you is like
Yeah.
it's such a good feeling. And then you go back and it's so rewarding, like, oh, I'm back. Like,
Like, oh, this feeling, I finally have it again.
hmm my mom was reminding me just today actually that to keep herself busy in the hospital she would always bring her Kindle to read because I would be watching my video, as I said, like 5 or 6 times, or I'll be playing games, and so she would read. But sometimes I would want to know like what she was reading about, but I've said before I'm not a huge fan of reading. So she would just give me like short summaries of her books or the chapters. I always loved like hearing these like synopses she would give. And actually, fun fact, I've never read any of the Harry Potter books before. And I've watched two of the movies. I've watched number two and I've watched number seven, part two. But I know pretty much the entirety of the plot of Harry Potter because when I was little, and this is like really little, like 5 or 6, my mom, who's always been obsessed with Harry Potter books, she would tell me summaries of the books, pretty much like chapter by chapter as my bedtime stories. And
Oh.
so growing up, I knew all of Harry Potter before anyone else my age did, just because of these bedtime stories. And now people like are obsessed with it, and people have been obsessed like the last like I guess like probably since like 13 or 14 when they actually started reading the books. And I'll be like, oh, like I knew that way long ago. Like, oh, what's your favorite book? I'm like, oh, haven't read any.
That's funny. Actually, you mentioned something about your mom coming to the hospital, and I actually just want to give a quick shout out to all of the parents who are there in the hospital with their kids, because I can honestly say having my mom there and having that support just like made a world of difference for me because and I always wanted to include her in what I was doing. So I'm kind of like with you where like my mom would bring something to do as well. But just, like, as a parent, going and supporting your kid, that's great, and I do like that your mom would, kind of give you a summary, so, like, you guys were, like, had an activity to do together almost.
Yeah, she brought up too because she would always bring like playing cards, like a deck of cards, and
Mhm.
also like different card games like Uno, or there was some other like game where you'd slap the deck, I think.
Okay.
Um, and she would always bring these, and she would always have like 2 or 3 decks like in her bag.
Aw.
And I don't think we played them once while we're in the hospital.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure my mom, at least my brother too, would bring playing cards, and I don't think that they got utilized very much.
No. But it's nice. It was like super nice of her and like thoughtful of her to bring that as an option in case like because also the one of the worst things in the hospital is like when you're on drugs, you're already kind of cranky from the steroids, and it's like you
Mhm.
want to do something, but it's not an option.
Yeah.
Like that's one because you just get so like I don't know, I know I used to get like pretty angry when like I would want to do something and it wasn't an option. So I feel like if like she would bring those cards over and over, we'd never use them. But if there was one time where I was like, "Can we play cards?" and she had them, like that would be great. Like that would be like an amazing. She'd be like, "Yes, like they came through."
We did it, we accomplished it.
uh, but no, that's very nice what you said. I definitely agree with that. Thank you to all parents out there. And siblings too, and
For
just
sure.
like loved ones who come and visit and come and stay, who sleep on those tiny chairs and
Oh.
couches next to the bed. Um,
Mm.
your work does not go unappreciated. Like we are very appreciative of all you do.
It makes a difference.
Huge difference. I know that's one of my favorite things when I have friends and family there. This whole podcast has been about some of our favorite things we've brought to the hospital. And so I think it's fitting that the songs we recommend are also some of our favorite songs we would listen to in the hospital. And so my first song, I mentioned it before, it's Eyes for You by The Always.
Mhm.
And this is the song that's in Jehovah's video. And it still it I said I was singing in the shower like last week, like it still makes me just so immensely happy to listen to, even after all the millions of times I've played it. Like it's just such a great like fast-paced rock song with like awesome guitar, just like awesome drumming in it, and there's a guitar solo. Like I said, it's upbeat and it's fast and it's exciting, and it's such a good song. It always gets me going. um, Another song I remember listening to a lot back then was Take a Walk by Passion Pit. And I remember very clearly with the song, I listened to it so much because it's in the soundtrack for MLB 2K13. Which, as I mentioned, I would play that game close to nonstop, especially when I would come home from the hospital. I had one of those like yoga balls, and I would just sit on that in front of my TV and play that game. I would wake up at like 9 in the morning and play it till like 5 at night, and then eat dinner and then play some more, and then
Is the routine.
just routine. I would play that so much. I was playing it a few weeks ago too, like 8 years after it came out, which is crazy. But like, that song from that, I would hear that song all the time, and I saved it to my library after playing that game so much. Just because it's a good song too. And my last song, you actually brought this up earlier with the Glee rendition of it. This is not the Glee rendition of it. This is "Smooth Criminal" by Michael Jackson. Because before the podcast, I went and found an older playlist, like the oldest playlist I had on my phone, and this was on it. And I completely forgot how much I used to play it. But this was another song I would play over and over on repeat. There was at least a week, where I was obsessed with this song, and just like the video, it would end and I would play it over and over. And it's definitely a top 2 Michael Jackson song for me, right next to Billie Jean.
Aw. I mean, Smooth Criminal is an amazing song, and so is the Glee version with the cellos. I would recommend it, but you just did. So, I mean, you did kind of did the original, but
Oh,
I'm just
sorry.
saying the
Well,
cover.
go listen to both. Go listen to all versions if you want
They're
to.
so great. I don't know, just the song, the lyrics too. I just like the Eddie, are you okay? And we don't get copyrighted for that. At least that. My name is Annie.
Yeah.
Okay, my 3 songs. Slow Dance by Saint Motel. I just love the way the lyrics sound and their voices. It's just so unique. It's really nice. Um, Fury by Jeremy and the Harlequins. It sounds so old, but also new, and it's just a really unique mix between like kind of like old style music versus like kind of the new pop, but also just maintaining the integrity of like music. I just love it.
That's really
Um,
sorry, can I say something about that?
yes.
Because that's really cool when like musicians and bands are able to do that.
Mhm.
Um, like have something that has like an older sound, like older like cadence and like instruments even. But in like bring in some of that new like pop and like hip hop to it. It's like because I think last week, no, a few in one of the episodes I mentioned Masego does that too with jazz and hip hop and like rap.
Mhm.
And
Like a
it's really cool.
callback
Yeah, it's really
to like
cool when stuff like that
golden
happens.
era. It's vintage
Yeah,
music.
it's not old, it's vintage. It's
And then I guess my last one is Who's to Say by the Moon Taxi. This is something that I would just put on and dance around my room to. It is such a dance it out song.
yeah, it has such a cool drum cadence and beat. I talk about that all the time, it seems like. But honestly, it's like one of my favorite things in music, and it always gets me so excited when there's a good beat that just goes and like yeah, that has a really good beat to it.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's it for this week. I hope you have a new packing list. Hope you found some things that you might want to bring next time on your hospital visit. Maybe you already bring all these things and you have some recommendations for us or whatever. If you have stuff you bring that you think is worth sharing, let us know. Tweet at us. We have a Twitter.
You have
Comment on
to at the
Instagram.
Wish Kids.
Yeah, at the Wish Kids. Comment on Instagram. Comment on YouTube. Let us know what you bring. And yeah, we'll see you next time. The Wish Kids wish you well.
Thank you to our moms for moderating and our dads for approving nods and occasional thumbs up.
We would also like to thank all of our wonderful nurses and doctors that we have had along the way and remind you that they are healthcare professionals, not us.
Please keep in mind, any medical information or stories shared and discussed in this podcast are based on personal experiences and are not meant to serve as medical advice. Please talk with your doctor about any medical concerns, questions, and guidance as they are trained medical professionals.
Any brands, corporations, trademarks, or characters in the show, even those based on real people, are purely fictional.
The Wish Kids wish you well.